Under measures for boosting exports, I'm coming up with 6 different silos. The first one is the scheme for remission of duties on taxes on export products will replace MEIS. Now, I'd like to draw your attention that the name alone has not changed. It is not ROSCTL, it is not ROSL, it is remission of duties, RODTEP. This is a new scheme which is coming, and it shall completely replace MEIS. Completely replace MEIS not just for textiles but for all goods and services for which the goods particularly for which the coverage was given both by the Textile Ministry and the Commerce Ministry. So this one will replace all MES. Existing dispensation in textiles of MEIS and plus the old ROSL will continue up to December 31st, 2019. This is so because a lot of exporters probably have taken orders and they will have to be given a lead time, so we are giving this lead time. However, it equally means that post 31st December 2019, no MEIS will continue. Now, textiles and all other sectors which currently enjoy incentives up to 2% over MEIS, which is already existing MEIS, over that you had 2%, will transit into RODTEP from January 1st, 2020. In effect, this new one, the RODTEP, will more than adequately incentivize exporters than the existing schemes all put together. The RODTEP, the new scheme which comes into effect from 1st January 2020 for textiles and for all other commerce related products, will more than adequately incentivize exporters than the existing schemes all put together. Revenue foregone projected is up to 50,000 crores. A fully electronic refund module for quick and automated refund of ITC, that is the input tax credits, nearing completion and will be implemented by the end of this month itself. So by September 2019, the fully electronic refund mechanism for the GST ITC refunds will be in place. This is expected to monitor and also to speed up all ITC refunds. So there shouldn't be lockup of funds disturbing the cash flow for all the small and medium exporters, and therefore refunds on your input tax should be automated and speedy. Post the Board of Trade meeting which was held a day or two ago, an indication has been given that this is under consideration. I'm glad to announce, and I thank the Commerce Ministry for having put in a lot of effort to get this through. The Export Credit Guarantee Corporation, the ECGC, will expand the scope of ECIS and will offer higher insurance cover. Here I would want to just make sure that some of the numbers can be understood. Higher insurance cover to banks lending working capital for exports. Premium incidence for MSME will be moderated suitably, which is when MSME pay their premium towards guarantee that they receive from the ECGC, the premium that they pay will now be far lesser than what they had paid earlier. It is expected that the initiative will cost about 1,700 crores per annum for the government, but that will be the kind of support we are extending for the ECGC to offer that kind of guarantee for exporters. The credit insurance scheme, export credit insurance scheme, will benefit because of this extension of 1,700 crore per annum from the government for the promotion of credit guarantee by the ECGC. So this will enable reduction in the overall cost of export credit, including interest rates, especially to the MSMEs. These have been examined and enabling guidelines are under consideration with the RBI. We have had extensive discussion with the Reserve Bank of India on this. and they are on board. I am sure sooner they will also be able to release the necessary notification for this. This will release an additional 36,000 crores to up to 68,000 crores as export credit under priority sector, because banks use this in their basket of lending portfolios. When the priority sector lending category comes with this additional infusion, priority sector lending for export credit will increase, and this will give greater impetus for export sector. The data on export finance is regularly published by the RBI. However, now export finance will be actively monitored by an interministerial working group, so that there is, hopefully, if this is going to immediately make a big difference, this might even look at it on a weekly basis. So interministerial working group is being formed, which will monitor export finance actively, and that will be located in the Department of Commerce. The Department of Commerce will run it, and it will also be tracked through a dashboard, reviewed with institutions, and also with active intervention being carried out where necessary. Leverage technology to reduce time to export or turnaround time. This is a very important step forward. Technology is further being used so that the initial time which is being taken the time to export that is being taken at each of the ports will come down. For an example, when we were discussing, ports like Boston take 0.55 days only for a turnaround, which is less than half a day. Shanghai takes about 0.83 days, whereas west of India, which is Kochi, takes 1.10 days. Now, we are using technology to make sure all the clearances which are required at every port, and also custom related, and elimination of all offline material, manual services will all be removed, so that quickly our turnaround time at the ports will also reach the global best. An action plan to reduce time to export or the turnaround time in airports and ports benchmarked to the international standards, which is what I read out to you with the examples of Boston and Shanghai, will also be taken up, and it will be completely implemented by December 2019, which is in another 3 months' time, maximum of 2.5 months' time. Actual turnaround time will be published in real time for everyone to see, for each port and airport, to push them to improve performance. So that's going to be available for you and me to see, and we can always monitor so that there's a greater sense of competition among ports. An interministerial group again will be made accountable for this. India shall hold annual mega shopping festivals, like the way you hear in Dubai, in an organized large-scale basis, and across the country in 4 different destinations. By March 2020 it should happen. The themes shall vary. There shall be gems and jewelry, handicrafts, yoga, tourism, textiles and leather. FTA agreement utilization mission that we want to launch. What does that indicate? We have several FTAs, and the sense whenever we interact with the industry or exporters is that they don't seem to optimally utilize the existing FTAs, leading to periodically, even you from the media have asked us, are you reviewing the FTAs? Here what we are telling you is, for an effective utilization of the FTAs, which already are with us, a senior officer from the Department of Commerce will be set up to monitor an FTA utilization mission. What would he or she do? To work exclusively with the Federation of Export Organization and with the export houses. You know, there are nearly 32 export related associations, federations, which are partly associated with the Commerce Ministry. All of them will be given a clear introduction to how to use all the concessional tariffs that exist in each of the FTA. For want of use, for want of maximum utilization of the concessional tariff which is already built in each of the FTAs, we find that many of the exporters are at a loss. Whereas when we find the other end of the FTA utilizing the features which are given, they tend to better benefit from the Indian markets, whereas our exporters, for want of link or want of awareness or want of understanding the nuance which prevails in the FTA, don't benefit so much. So this mission, with the senior officer heading it, will immediately spend a lot of time looking at how to maximum utilize the concessional tariffs which are built in FTAs, enhance awareness of preferential duty, which is another area where we find many of our exporters are not really optimally benefiting from. So the preferential duty benefits which exist will have to be now widely spread among the MSMEs, so the dissemination of this information and facilitation so that compliance requirements such as the rules of origin, certificate of origin can all be much more streamlined, methodically used, and the exporters are not left to fend for themselves. And the set goals for FTA utilization are also put in place so that effective FTA monitoring system can be run. Origin management system. We find that most often under the rules of origin, most of our exporters suffer. For exporters to enable them to obtain certificate of origin, there will be origin management system which will be launched in the next few weeks by the DGFT, and this will be in collaboration with export inspection councils, because they play a very critical role in this. So the DGFT together with the Export Inspection Council will activate this. This is expected to significantly improve ease of doing business for the exporters. Time-bound adoption of mandatory technical standards. This is an area which I'd like to highlight to all of you all. There shall be time-bound adoption by industry of all necessary mandatory technical standards and their effective enforcement to elevate the quality and performance of the ecosystem, enhance competitiveness, and address the issue of substandard imports. I need not, I'm sure all of you are aware, I need not underline the importance of this particular measure. Whilst it's important for quality determination of our export products, most often the imports which come in and the quality of the imports, the standards that they stand up to, are matters of great concern. A working group, therefore, on standards will be set up again in the Department of Commerce to work with industry so that they can lay down a roadmap for adoption of standards, timelines, and enforcement. This is expected to be a big boost in enabling Indian products to overcome any non-tariff barriers which are most often becoming a big headache for our exporters. Affordable testing and certification infrastructure will be adequately expanded. There shall be enough money invested and developed with the PPP mode so that exporters get all internationally accepted tests and certification done within India. This is one of the, I would say, pet peeve of many of the exporters, that they spend huge amounts going here and there trying to test their products, but now this will reduce the cost of adoption of standards and also certification for Indian exporters so that they can meet global standards. Enable handicrafts industry to effectively harness e-commerce for exports. Here I would like to say a big word of appreciation for TriFed, which till now probably was not even recognized as somebody who was doing very good work, but now they have made an extraordinary step in linking with e-commerce markets. As a result, they are finding newer sources of export. So special dispensation for facilitating and onboarding handicrafts artisans and handicraft cooperatives directly on the e-commerce portals and enable seamless exports. Mass enrollment will be undertaken for all artisans across India with help of the Ministry of Textiles and organizations like TriFed, because textiles deals with handicrafts also. So mass enrollment of artisans across India with the help of Ministry of Textiles and organizations like TriFed, CIE and so on will be taken up so that handicraft promotion can happen.